back. We're back with Tal. And this game I'm excited to show you because Tal is, I would say, easily top 3 most beloved world champions. And you're about to see why. Tal was known for wicked attacks, and he was even dubbed the Magician from Riga. That was his name because he would make tactics happen out of nothing, just normal positions. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And we're going to see a typical Sicilian. And I should mention that this was a game in 1957 against one of Tal's most beloved trainers, Alexander Koblenz. And it's always interesting to me when you're looking at certain players who have an interesting or beautiful style that you want to find out who their trainer was, because typically their trainer had some beautiful and interesting games themselves, because it's hard to coach somebody who's brilliant if you yourself are not brilliant. So Alexander Koblenz has a number of wonderful games that you should take a look at. So knight f6, knight c3. We have what's called the classical Sicilian. And we'll get into one of the nasty variations, Richter Rouser. And when we have opposite side castling positions, the plan is I want to throw my kingside pawns to try to rip the position open. He wants to throw his queenside pawns to rip my position open. Whoever is more successful with their attack is going to be the person who wins. Straightforward concept, opposite side castling, easy plan to understand. So first of all, knight b3. He didn't want to trade in the center. Queen b6. This solidifies our center, making a pawn chain, and is getting ready to start launching pawns where they're going to be protected and can push forward. Black's doing the same thing. When he gets his queen out of the way, he's going to play b5. So g4, we see the pawn lever. Getting the bishop out of the way so that pawn can be moved forward, trying to crack the position open. Moving the queen out of the way so he can play b5 and start his attack. Just notice, both sides, they're just angling to throw the pawns. h4, b5, and see, now this position really exemplifies the Sicilian with that opposite side castling. White's throwing all of his kingside pawns, Black's throwing all of his queenside pawns. We're both trying to rip it open. This is not a position you want to be in against Tal. Tal is going to attack, regardless of if he has to give up material. He goes straight psycho. Let's see it. g5. And this is what I'm talking about. I would never even consider this next move like what Tal played. Tal plays g6. And it's well, either pawn can take. Why is he doing this? Because he just wants to give away both of his G and H pawns to open up files to attack the king. Okay. Now the rook file is open, and it's easier to get to the king. So imagine if he could play something like queen h2, rook h8 would be mate. Make sense? So he goes knight f6, attacking the rook, gaining a little bit of time, and adding a defender over there to the king side. He's all right, rook h1. So Black is striking back in order to make sure he's getting counterplay, because if you just give White a bunch of moves, you're going to get mated. And here, Tal has a very nice idea. He's like, okay, I don't want to take, because that's going to trade down a bunch of stuff, and Black will be completely fine. I'm going to play e5, saying, I'm going to give you another pawn. It keeps the position locked up where Black's pieces can't develop very easily. And I'm going to keep attacking on the king side. He pins the knight. Now he adds more pressure and lines up his queen and rook, threatening checkmate. So the king's got to run. Check. He blocks with a knight. Now we start to get fancy here. Rook h7. Threatening taking here. f5 to defend. Now he wants to break through bishop h6. The pawn can't take and the knight can't take. The knight can't move because of the pin. And if the pawn takes, we take the queen. So he's just continually adding pressure. And I mean, the queen and rook for white look bad, but they're performing an amazing tactical purpose of just like pressuring the king. So he defends further. And now, when you got a piece that's not doing anything, and you know if your attack doesn't work, you lose, you go completely psycho. You keep attacking. Bishop takes. He didn't want to take the pawn because this knight would come into the game, removing defenders. So rook f7. He had to get the bishop out of the way to get the other rook to attack. Every single one of black's pieces is trying to defend. All of white's pieces are attacking. If any of black's pieces get uncoordinated, it's over. Knight d4. That knight wasn't doing anything, so he's bringing him back into the action, getting every single piece involved in this. Knight g4. Gotta take. Defend. Here comes knight c6, attacking the bishop, trying to kill it. And you think he's going to take back, but he moves his bishop out of the way to attack the rook. Look how many pieces are hanging. Everything's up in the air. This is a lot to calculate. The most creative players can do this, though. And it's interesting in history when you look at the most creative players, because when they're on, nobody in the world can touch them. But if they're having an off day, they miss a single move in any of this, it's like stepping on a landmine. d4. Oh. It's like, okay, we're just going to put everybody on the H-file, because now he's threatening queen takes, king takes, rook mates. So he gets an escape square for his king, cutting off an escape square. Rook 1 h6. Here it comes. d3. No checks. Now, white must find something here or he loses, because black is looking at playing queen check, and that's also mate. So you know you got to have something devastating right now. Rook f6 check. He can't take with a knight. Looks like taking with a pawn is pretty bad, because if pawn takes, what does he do here? Let's find out. Looks like it's bishop h6, and on rook g7, no matter what he does, is going to end up in a serious situation. Running him up the board until he's blocking the queen diagonal. So you can tell that line's pretty bust. Rook f7 was played in the game, and he missed this beautiful finish. Queen takes g7, because the king can't take, the rook can't take, and beast mode just happens. So I'm imagining it's going to be a line something like king e8. We take there. That's hard to even see what's going to happen here. Like, it's just pain. It's just pain. And probably the same type of line that happened before, that we're trying to get the king to block, to do that type of stuff. My analysis probably there at the end wasn't the best, but overall, when we're looking at, a Sicilian, let's get to that position. The main takeaway from looking at this type of classical game is anybody can get to the setup. But are you the type of player, is it in your genes, your fingerprint, your DNA, to be able to play this type of position with the type of gusto that Tao plays it? Are you willing to go all or nothing? If not, that's in for you. Play a London system or something.